What is going on, everybody? And in this video I will be taking a look at the Nissan 370Z East African Safari Z, which is going to be one of the new vehicles added in the Season 6 Episode 1 update. Now I'm not going to lie, I've been actually really enjoying this vehicle from the little testing I have done with it. I did end up completing a couple of races and managed to beat my time on one of them. I'm honestly pretty impressed with this vehicle so far, and it's going to be a new rallycross vehicle, which I think everybody was probably looking for. Now I'm sure many people already know this, but I do want to mention this as well, just in case you guys might have been wondering. So in order to get this vehicle, you will actually have to have the motor pass and hit level 13. Luckily, leveling up the motor pass is going to be insanely easy with the Season 6 update. I really don't know what they did to it. Maybe it's bugged out or something, I don't know, but they did obviously make it insanely easy. All I literally have to do now is basically turn in the recent summit and you basically get the 8 levels, which is kind of funny. But nonetheless, I do think the Safari Z is going to be worth a look compared to the Gold Leader Z. I know a lot of people did not like this car, and honestly, I was also one of them. I do think this is one of the better looking cars in the game with the body kit on there and all that, but the overall performance is just not that great at all. I mean, I think the lower tiered street cars could probably beat this thing without even trying. I do think that's a little unfortunate, but luckily the Safari Z is going to be pretty dang good in the rallycross class. I know a lot of players might actually be running the Enforcer unit or the Mitsubishi. I do think those two cars are probably going to stay top tier in the rallycross class, but I also think the Nissan 370Z can be used competitively in summits and all that, because this car does seem to be pretty dang good from the testing I have done. Now, if you guys might have been wondering, by the way, there's not much of any customization that can be done to this vehicle, probably for good reasoning, because if I were to buy this car, I would basically upgrade it so it looks something like this anyway. I think Ubisoft did a really good job with the detail of these cars for Chris Forsberg. I mean, they're amazing. I'm loving them a lot, and I think this car looks really good, and it's also one of the better looking rallycross vehicles. I think we can all agree on that, because some of them really do not look that good. But nonetheless, guys, let's do an outside look of this vehicle, and I want to take it on a top speed run to see what it can actually get to for a top speed. Even though most of the rallycross vehicles are probably going to be insanely similar for that matter, then I want to take this thing into an actual event to really test out its overall performance. Now, taking an outside look at the Nissan Z here, I actually really do love the overall look of this vehicle, and as I mentioned before, I really do think Ubisoft has done an insanely good job with the detail of these cars. Now, one thing I do want to mention, by the way, is I don't know what it is, but I feel like this is definitely one of the better looking rallycross cars in the game. I do think some of them do look pretty dang bad, but luckily the Z here looks pretty awesome. I love the rims on this car, by the way. I would love to see those in the game. That would be amazing. Let's take a listen. Now, I do think this car does sound pretty dang good for the most part. Now, let's jump right into the interior view of this vehicle. Now, I have noticed a lot of the car's gauges tend to not work, which it does look like this one's going to be in that category. Luckily, the detail of this interior still looks really good. The roll cage is kind of bright there depending on how the sun actually hits you when you're in this vehicle, but I still think the detail in this interior definitely looks really nice. But besides all that, let's go take this thing on a top speed run to really see what it can actually get to. Now, most of the rallycross vehicles, as I mentioned before, seem to have a very similar top speed, which really isn't a bad thing because obviously some cars will be better than others regardless of how fast they actually can get to. Now, I'm actually pretty dang impressed with this vehicle for the most part from the driving I have done with it. I did take it into a couple of rallycross races to see what it can really do, and I'm not gonna lie, I think I'd actually drive this car over some of the other ones in the game already, not only because it looks good, but this thing also drives pretty dang nice. Oh no, please beat that. I really would like to know what those are made of. Like, that dude just crashed into one of those as well. Like, whatever those signs are made of, we really need that material on cars in real life, my goodness. But regardless, guys, let me go back to the top speed of this besides whatever that just was. I have ran into those a lot, by the way. I actually try to get under them, but normally the hypercars are actually low enough to do so. Unfortunately, this car is not. Now, let's speed up right now to see what we can get to the top speed. So 186 there, 187. I am going down a hill, which will make a difference. Now, I did notice a lot of the other rallycross vehicles, like the Enforcer unit, can also hit 190 miles an hour. So I would say that's pretty dang impressive for the most part and can also compete with a lot of the other vehicles. But it's really going to come down to how this vehicle can actually handle compared to those. So let's go take this thing into a race right now. Now, jumping into the rallycross race test here. Now, I did want to take this thing into the same race I originally beat my time with, because I was actually trying to do that with this vehicle to see if it can really do that compared to like the Enforcer unit, and I somehow actually beat my time on this race. Now, that's not really saying this car is better. I could have just did a little bit better with this vehicle on that run, but I do think this car's got a lot of potential, and every vehicle in the Forsberg racing category seems to be insanely fun to use, and also really good for that matter, like the 370 Drift Z. That thing is absolutely insane, and I do think this is going going to be one of the better cars in the Rallycross class that I have used in the recent time at least. I know the Enforcer unit and the Mitsubishi is probably going to be one of the best cars in the game to this day, and it will most likely stay like that, but I also think this new Z is going to be pretty dang good. I actually like it a lot more than the regular 370 that's in this class, and for one, it also looks a lot better than that vehicle does, which is kind of funny, and it handles way better as well. Now, there's a few things I did notice about this car that I did want to mention. So the first thing is going to be the handling sometimes being kind of wonky on this vehicle. I found myself actually oversteering in turns sometimes and actually almost spinning out. The car literally will not correct itself, which can be kind of annoying to see. I did not like that at all for that matter, and I also had to actually restart one of the events because of that. I did end up adjusting the car a little bit, and that seemed to fix some of it, but I did notice that might be one of the flaws with this car, with its handling overall. Now, I'll have to mess with it a little bit more, but with the current build I'm running on the vehicle, seems to be pretty dang solid compared to a lot of the other vehicles I have tested. Now, one thing I also do want to mention though, guys, is the speed of this vehicle is going to be pretty dang good compared to a lot of the other Rallycross vehicles as well. Now, unfortunately, I did run into that tower over there, which I really wish you can actually drive through those, but for some weird reason, that tower is made out of the same thing the signs are that come down for the trains, which, my goodness, I really need that material. But regardless, guys, I would have to say this car is definitely going to be worth a look in this class. My goodness, it's definitely going to be really good. I know a lot of players might have been mixed on the motor pass as well after using the Gold Leader Z, which I really can't blame you. I was pretty disappointed in that car as well, but luckily it's a new vehicle to cruise around in. But I really do think the new Nissan Z here can actually be used in a lot of the other competitive racing, like summits and all that, and or PvP if you really wanted to use it. I think this car could honestly do it, even though in some ways it might have some flaws. I do find it to be pretty dang good still. Let me know what you guys think about this car in the comments below, and here are my current settings I'm running on this vehicle right now.